What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Xandria Azurebolt painting tutorial from issue 5 of the Mortal Realms magazine. So last time we got all of the gold pieces done on the legs, the chest and the arms. So for today what I've done is fitted the pauldrons on top with the rosary on the back there, and just giving it a base coat of Mournfang brown. The only gold area is the trim. The sort of the pad area there is going to be done the same as the blue here. After that we will move on to the staff and the sword, and then all the little details, and then aside from the head we will be done. So to get started today, we're going to go ahead and start with the blues on the pads there. So same as before, I'm going to take a little bit of the black and the Xandria blue and mix that down until we get quite a dark blue. There we go, and we'll go ahead and paint a couple of layers over this, although with the Mournfang brown there it may only take the one, maybe two. So obviously try and avoid going over the emblem here, as that is going to be white, so it's easier to do if we don't have a dark colour on there. But if you do, then not to worry, as it won't be too difficult to fix. So while I do this, if you want to go ahead and get this done with both pauldrons, and then we will cut back in just a second. Right, so once that's done, as before, we're now going to take a 50-50 mix of Xandria blue and the dark blue here, and just lighten that up a step, and then we're going to thin it down. And we're going to paint all but the very edge closest to that brown area. Also, there's a slight rim here on the back. If you leave a small amount of the dark blue next to that, and the top of the rim, if you do that with this blue, and then the same on this side, stay just shy of anything that isn't blue and keep that dark blue in that little little area there. Right, now we can go in with some straight Xandria blue, again thinned down, and then all we're going to do is pick up the edge and then a small area here and just in here, and then on this edge, on this pauldron, sorry, we're going to pick up this edge here, or this area, and we're going to do almost an oval shape just on the top there. Alright, so we'll let that dry for a second. And while that finishes drying, we'll just make a 50-50 mix of the Cantor blue and the Teclis blue. And again, thin that down. And then the same thing, just a small area in here. And then one here. And then on this side, just take that rim there and then apply the highlight just at the top of the pad here. And then with a damp brush, and whilst this is still wet, we'll just feather it off the bottom here. Go back in with some of that Cantor blue and just blend them together. And then we'll let that dry. Alright, and then we'll put another layer of that one on. Right, and then all we'll do is just a small amount of Teclis blue, just for an edge highlight on the top of this ridge here, and then here, and then just a spot highlight here. And we treat this as though it's a spherical object, which will have one or two spot highlights. So do one there and one there. There we go. So that is the blue part of the shoulder pad done. Next up is the gold. So same again, we're going to make this reddish brown up. Bit of the black. And we'll thin it down slightly. And then we'll just go apply some more Mournfang brown to the palette there. going to thin that up. Right, so with this, we're going to paint this down into the drop areas, the corners of each of the pauldrons here, and just on the side of that one. So just in here like so, and the same with the top, just in there, and then on this one, just in here. Alright, now with the staff, some of the paint's worn off there where I've been handling this, but that's fine, we can just get that in there, and we'll give this a kind of wash to get into these recess areas. We'll paint the underside in this, and then in this rim here like so. Then as the light is coming from above, the inside of here is going to be a little bit dark, as is just across under here, and then the same with the underside of this, the head of the staff. And some of the thunderbolt here. And like I say, it's just a case of figuring out where the light will or won't make contact with the areas. Right, so now we're going to take some more of this brown, and we're just going to make up a slightly more brownish tone somewhere between the two, the dark red brown and the Mornfan brown there. Right, and next stage is either side of this, this dark area that we put in, we're just going to come outwards slightly. And the same along this edge here, as it will be dark, but not to the point of complete shadow. Right, then the same thing, so we're going to take some of this and the Mornfan brown, some of the yellow, I'm going to mix that up. And thin it down. And same again from that area, we're just going to pick off where our highlight block of gold is going to be. Obviously it's going to be more on top and over here. And then the same with this one, up to the end there. Over the top here. And then here. And then it's just a case of layering and stepping this back. And just going round and round, over and over. And then we'll add a bit of white to it. And a little bit more yellow. Keeping it thin. And then the same thing. Right, and then a bit more white. Right, and then what you want to try and do, if you can, is gently and very carefully pick out the ridge that goes along this edge here. If you can't do it, don't worry, it's not a huge importance, but it will give a little bit more definition if you can. Alright, then to add more white to get this very pale white, or pale yellow, sorry. And then we're just going to edge highlight dotting until we get onto the yellow, and then we'll edge highlight, and then dot that back down, but don't go into the brown too much. And then the same thing, come back up and line it. Right, and then we're just gonna make these browner parts slightly smaller. And then we'll make up another yellow glaze. And we'll just glaze straight over the top of all of these. And we can go in with some pure white and just edge highlight some of these topmost areas that are going to catch the light the harshest. Like so, and that is the pauldrons done. So once again, we can move on to the staff now and the scabbard for the sword. So with this, relatively easy because it is pretty much straight objects. Obviously you are going to catch highlight on areas such as these. Obviously don't forget that we are layering this, we're not placing it down all in one go. We do want to pull back with each layer and get that gradient. And then we'll do the scabbard. Alright, so we're going to catch an edge highlight down here, like so. I'm going to catch all of the surface on the top there and down here, as well as that bit of surface there. The same as under here, we're going to catch the flat surfaces here and along here, as well as the top of the hilt, the pommel, the guards. Not quite sure what those parts are called. And again, multiple passes, multiple layers, building it up. Right, and then the next tone, slightly more yellowy one. So not so much on the bottom there, but we will get that on the tops of these sections. Thin it down slightly. So same with this, top of here. Right, top of the pommel. And then onto the slightly more creamy yellowy one. And again, use this as a thicker highlight, sort of an edge. Pummel, handguard, and then the front area of that. Again, don't worry about the gem area, as we will block that in on itself when we come to colouring that. Right, so edge highlighting with the creamy colour. So again, you can break up your highlights with dots and lines, gives it a much more realistic look. On these rounded areas, it's probably better to just go ahead with a solid line, but on the longer straight lines, see if you can get the dotted. And obviously the what do you call it, this area, you just take the top edge of it. So the pummel just gets a single dot on one edge, because now all we are doing is picking off edge highlights. And we'll pull a glare across the front here. And that will be that done. Right, now for the top section. Now this is going to be difficult because it is a very multi-shaped piece. So the first thing to do is pick off any edges, anything with a spike, just sort of come down the side of it. And the easiest way to do something like this is pretty much edge highlight it all, and any flat surface just give it a straight over coat. So along here we'll go gold as we come up from the depth of it. So just picking off edges, as there isn't enough flat surface area to get a huge amount of gold effect. Just wherever you go with the brown, make sure, or each layer, make sure that you are stepping it back up from the previous layer. So we don't have to be too neat with this, as there's such small sort of twisty bits and bits sticking out that the light is going to catch off pretty much all of it. It is going to be very reflective throughout the majority of it. So as long as you get your gradients, you shouldn't be able to go too far wrong with it. As long as you don't go and stick a white dot in a brown area, I mean, it wouldn't be too bad, you know, it'd be a highlight or a bit of reflective light or something in the brown, or in the shadow rather. Right, so some edge highlights. Right, then we take some yellow and make our glaze up again. And we'll go over this whole piece. Alright, so now we just need to get some of these white highlights on. A little bit more white. And while we're here with the white, we can go ahead and quickly do the emblem on the pauldron there. Okay, so back to the emblem, get that a nice strong white, being careful not to go onto anything we've already done. Alright, now the emblem on there and here are both going to be gold. Silver, sorry. So we'll now get some iron breaker. You can use lead belcher if you want for this. I'm just using the iron breaker as it's what I have at the minute. I'm mixing a little bit of black just to dull it down slightly. And get it more to that lead belcher look. And then just go ahead and paint that on these silver areas. So that's that, and then we just got the emblems on the guards here. Now the reason we're using a silver paint rather than non-metallic metal for the silver is just because these details, aside from that one there, these details are just way too small to get a non-metallic on, so I wouldn't even normally bother. If we had more that were the size of the piece on the staff there, then I would, but as it stands it's just not worth it. It's too small to get any kind of detail that would make it look like silver. At least I can't do that, and you know, you should always know your limits. It's good to push past your limits and try new things, but seeing as I am showing you guys how I paint, and you know, it's probably looked at as a tutorial, it's easier to stick to what I know so that I can show you. So that's the pieces on here and this one in here. Just take your time and gently apply the paint. And then there's one on the inside here, and this large one on the front of the tabard here. Right, and then the emblem that he has, or she has rather, just hanging off her belt here. And around the bottleneck, the top of which is black. Right, next up we're going to do the gems. So first of all, I'm going to take some Mephiston red, thin it down slightly, and just paint a couple of layers just to get it nice and bold over the top of this and all the rest of the other gems. And this is going to be the base colour for our gems here. If you want to do any other colour you can, the principle is the same. Let's have a look, do we want to do one there? Nope. So we've got the gems there, and then the ones up on the top of her staff here. And then the three on this side. And the one on the scabbard for the sword. Aside from the head, we are coming to the end of this character now. Alright, so next off we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade and apply this into this silver pendant piece that we've just done across the top of the staff, the silver piece there. Just let that flow into those recesses. Around this emblem here, we just want to be careful that it is just going around the emblem and not anywhere else. This is just to make it, give it a bit of a definition. Along the outside edge of it. And then over the gems, letting it sit mostly on the bottom underside. And then into the staff and sword handle. Like so. Right, so whilst that is drying, we'll just take some of the Teclis blue here and the Korvax white, thin that down slightly. And this is going to be for the vial here. So what we're going to do is just follow the twist down. There's a slightly raised line around parts of it, so we follow that. Right, then we can take some of the dark blue that we used for the cloak, get that very thin, and just follow some of that line down over the top of the light blue, not going over the line, just right up next to it. And I know I had a little bit of touch up to do there. There we go, and that gives the vial some definition. And then with some pure white, you don't want it too thin, but thin enough that we can get a very sharp point. Now all we're going to do is where any lines meet up or corners, we just put a bit of white highlight just to shape it up. And then the same with the silver, just go with a very thin broken white line on some of the outside edges. We did forget to do these, so I'll just go back with that Agrax Earth Shade. And just place that around the silver areas on the gauntlets. Just to make those stand out. Right. Next up, we're going to take some Evil Sun's Scarlet. Put a little bit of that on our palette. And thin it down just a little bit. We don't want to over thin this one, as we don't want it flowing off of these gems. So now what we're going to do is edge highlight the top of the gems. Right, and take some of that red, mix it in with a small amount of white, and go back over just this centre area of the gems. And then with some pure white, we're just going to place a small dot or two along that gem ridge. And this will be white as well. There we go. Right, so now it's just to take some of this brown for the leather strap in here. I'm just going to edge highlight that a little bit, and the same with the other one. And then if we take some of the black and white, not too much white, and we're just going to edge highlight the scabbard down here and then come slightly in, and then we can whiten that up a little bit more, and then edge highlight it. And then if we thin that lighter grey down, we can then go back in and just place a small dot or a line on the shoulder pads there, the inside palm of the glove, and the inside of the arms here, and along the belt, top of the cap. And it's just a case really of going around and finding anywhere that will have the last of those highlights. Right, now all that's left is to do the blue glow on the hand. Now if you decide that you want the glove left like this, you don't want this effect, then that is perfectly fine. You can go ahead and call yourself done for this video. And if you are, then please, if you have liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and hit that subscription bell to get notifications of when new videos go up. If you want to check out my other social media, I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, sorry, and Twitch. so you can go and check them. I've got links for that down in the description. But if you want to carry on watching the video for this final part, then you know, please stick around. So all we've done is mixed up some Teclis blue with some white to get us this lighter colour. Now all we're doing is just lining up, you know, putting lines and dots in the palm and along the fingers. I'm going to thin it down some more and then glaze. And what we're going to do with that glaze is just come over the edge of the finger slightly on the rim of some of this, the underside here, and we'll take some more of the Teclis blue whilst that's still wet in there, and while we still have the lighter blue on the back end of the brush. We're just going to go in and blend in the fingertips so that we're getting darker and darker towards the end of the tips. We can then go and put some darker blue along the edge of some of that and the edge of the bottom here. And all this is the electric that's coming out of her hand. It's just catching on the armour. And then we can grab and find some pure white. Nope. So we need some more pure white. And all we're going to do is get that blue to a point where it is almost white. Something along that, and then we're going to thin it down, and then we're going to place this into the palm as it is the source of the lightning, so it's going to be the brightest. And we'll just highlight some of the fingertips with some of this. Some of that armour. The closer it is, the brighter it will be. The further away, the darker. So there we go, we've got the lightning starting to power up in our hand. It's about to shoot out. So now what we do for the final details on this piece, with a fine detail brush, which is going to put a few lines in along here. So we're going to put one right in the centre here, and that will be the detailing for some of the robe there. So with a steady hand, we just want to paint in a thin line of blue. And then on the robe here, if you wish you can do this, otherwise you can leave it out. But I am going to freehand in a blue line, just following the edge all the way around and up. Now I will admit my freehand work isn't the steadiest. I find the best way is to control your breathing. Don't hold your breath. Don't breathe too fast, just nice. Nice and steady. And get that to just disappear around the corner there, and then we won't follow it underneath. There's no need. Yes, you should be able to see it when you're looking under, but to get a straight line that far under the model, you will do more harm than good to the work you've put into this. Right, so there we go, guys. That is the end of this video. We are all but finished. The only thing left to do is her head, which will be in the next video. So I'll put that up in the corner just up here. If you want to click on that one, or it may load automatically, and you can find out how to do the head and finish up your model. If you've watched it through to this point, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure doing this model and filming it for you guys. I hope I haven't bored you too much. If you have enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, and you'll get those notifications of when new videos go up. Follow me on Twitch and you can watch me paint live Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays from 8 PM UK time. And go and follow me on Instagram and Twitch, so you can get some up to date stuff of what I'm doing, what I'm working on, new upcoming videos, etc., things like that. And I do have a Discord if you want to check that out as well. The links for all of this is down in the description. Check that Discord out, throw up some photos in the gallery, and let me see what you're working on or how your progress on this one is coming along. Until next time, guys, thanks a lot and take it easy.